Just kidding. There we go. It's working now. Good morning and welcome to Sacred Place Live. I'm Matthew, the pastor here at Sacred Place, and I am glad you've taken time out of your day and week to be with me now on this rather toasty Sunday here in Southern California. It was 100 at our house yesterday, and I think it's going to be 100 again. But anywho, I hope that you are well, that amidst the busyness of families starting school with their kids and summer coming to an end and heat and all those things, that you're able to take a time to find some rest amidst all that is going on. Each Sunday we light the Christ candle to remind us of God's presence among us through the ways we remember Christ, through the promises of Christ, of the Holy Spirit, which would empower us in the absence of Christ's physical presence among us. We also are reminded of the way that light shines in the darkness of places. Today we continue our walk with Ruth and her mother-in-law, Naomi. I think the two go hand in hand. You can't skip one or you can't have one without the other. So we continue in our story from Ruth chapter 2 now. Now, Naomi had a respected relative, a man of worth, through her husband from the family of Elimelech. His name was Boaz. Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field so that I may glean among the ears of grain behind someone in whose eyes I might find favor." Naomi replied to her, "Go, my daughter." So she went. She arrived and she gleaned in the field behind the harvesters. By chance, it happened to be the portion of the field that belonged to Boaz, who was from the family of Elimelech. Just then, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem. He said to the harvesters, "May the Lord be with you." And they said to him, "May the Lord bless you." Boaz said to his young man, the one who was overseeing the harvesters, "To whom does this young woman belong?" The young man who was overseeing the harvesters answered, "She's a young Moabite woman, the one who returned with Naomi from the territory of Moab. She said, 'Please let me glean so that I might gather up grain from among the bundles behind the harvesters.' She arrived and has been on her feet from the morning until now, and has sat down for only a moment." Boaz said to Ruth, "Haven't you understood, my daughter? Don't go glean in another field. Don't go anywhere else. Instead, stay here with my young women. Keep your eyes on the field that they are harvesting and go along after them. I've ordered the young men not to assault you. Whenever you are thirsty, go to the jugs and drink from what the young men have filled." Then she bowed down, face to the ground, and replied to him, "How is it that I have found favor in your eyes that you notice me? I am an immigrant." Boaz responded to her, "Everything that you did for your mother-in-law after your husband's death has been reported fully to me. How you left behind your father, your mother, and the land of your birth, and came to a people you hadn't known beforehand. May the Lord reward you for your deed. May you receive a rich reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you've come to seek refuge." She said, "May I continue to find favor in your eyes, sir, because you've comforted me, and because you've spoken kindly to your female servant, even though I'm not one of your female servants." At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come over here, eat some of the bread, and dip your piece in the vinegar." She sat alongside the harvesters, and he served roasted grain to her. She ate, was satisfied, and had leftovers. Then she got up to glean. Boaz ordered his young men, "Let her glean between the bundles, and don't humiliate her. Also pull out some from the bales for her, and leave them behind for her to glean, and don't scold her." So she gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed what she had gleaned. It was about an ephah of barley. She picked it up and went into town. Her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned. She brought out what she had left over after eating her fill and gave it to her. Her mother-in-law said to her, "Where did you glean today? Where did you work? May the one who noticed you be blessed." She told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked and said, "The name of the man with whom I worked today is Boaz." Naomi replied to her mother-in-law, "May he be blessed by the Lord who hasn't abandoned his faithfulness with the living or with the dead." Naomi said to her, "The man is one of our close relatives. He is one of our redeemers." Ruth the Moabite replied, "Furthermore, he said to me, 'Stay with my workers until they finished all of my harvest.'" Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, "It's good, my daughter, that you go out with his young women, so that men don't assault you in another field." Thus she stayed with Boaz's young women, gleaning until the completion of the barley and wheat harvest, and she lived with her mother-in-law.
In the midst of new dimensions, in the face of changing ways, who will lead your pilgrim peoples wandering in their separate ways? Through the flood of starving people, warring factions and despair, who will lift the olive branches? Who will light the flame of care? God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar, we your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore. As we stand, a world divided by our own self-seeking schemes, grant that we, your global village, might envision wider dreams. We are man and we are woman, all persuasions, old and young, each a gift in your creation, each a love song to be sung. God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar, we your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore. Should the thread of dire predictions cause us to withdraw in pain, may your blazing phoenix spirit resurrect the church again. God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar, we your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore. God of rainbow, fiery pillar, leading where the eagles soar, we your people, ours the journey, now and ever, now and ever, now and evermore.
Sorry about the audio problem there with our folks watching on Zoom. Zoom doesn't want to behave today, apparently. So we come to the part of the story where things begin to turn for Ruth and Naomi. We've done Ruth chapter 1 twice this year and looked at so much the story of Ruth making a choice to go with Naomi and make a new home amongst her and her people. That resonates with so many of us of what it means to choose family, I think, and what it means to be family as God's people. But the ramifications of that choice are what follows and where we pick up in the story today. To choose family is the choice that Ruth makes to continue to be Naomi's family after her mother-in-law has lost so much. Not that she hasn't also lost her husband. The grief that she is experiencing is not unlike the grief that Naomi experiences. But she finds that it is her choice and her call to remain with what family she has, what family she has left. I mean, she has family of her own she could return to, but she feels called to stay with her now deceased husband's family, what is left of it. And in doing so, her act of courage and devotion and faithfulness is a story that is shared among the people that are now her family. That Naomi's people have heard about what Ruth has done. We see that in Boaz's response to her, that because of her faithfulness and because she is a distant kindred, he will make sure that she is taken care of, that she is safe. Her faithfulness, her kindness is rewarded with faithfulness and kindness of its own. I can imagine for her that this uncertainty about what would be, about what her new life would look like, becomes a lot calmer now. She may not expect what will happen in the rest of the story at this point, but she knows that this person who is family to her has, even without talking to her, made a choice to accept and provide respite to her. And we see the things that she doesn't even know about, where Boaz tells his workers to leave a little bit more behind so that she may remain of good standing, that she's not begging, she gets to keep her not pride, but I'm blanking on the word for this. I'm sure one of you has it out there, but that his kindness to her doesn't make her feel uncomfortable or that it's more than she deserves, for sure. That he is lightening her load and making her future secure out of kindness and mercy. And as we see, it's out of an understanding of God's love, of what they believe to be, what it means to be God's people. It is the reason I chose the song that we just did, in the midst of New Dimensions, because it is God's care for God's people that has taught them how to love one another. And as Ruth and Naomi face these new dimensions of this, what life looks like after loss and grief have changed them, what we talk about during the Easter season and should talk about all the time is that new life is possible in even these moments. I think that's really what grief is about, is creating new life out of death. It's a process which transforms, and even Ruth will experience that in the coming chapters. She happens to be, in a way, lucky that she picked the right field, the field of Boaz, but I think those of us of faith would realize that it was meant to be, that she ended up where she was supposed to be, among the people who were meant to care for her. And in that she finds new life. That there is, at least for her, a bit of hope that her future will be less fraught, that she is safe and secure in what is really the margins of society. She is without husband, without child, as is her mother-in-law. They are widows. Those are those who are left up to the people to care for. And Boaz steps into that role and says, I will care for you. There are many in those whom we encounter, as a church for sure, those who need comfort and care and someone to step in and say, you're safe and you are loved. That's really the story we try to tell for all of Pride Month. And I think this story really does show for us what it looks like to live in a way that extends God's love to those who are in need. But I don't think often we hear the stories of someone like Ruth, whose acts are so well known that they make their way to us. I think with things like social media, we might hear some of those stories, but those stories also often get drowned out. And so when someone comes to us, it is our job to invite them to share who they are with us, so that we may affirm who they are, that we might hear their story and respond to it in kindness and love. As we transition as a country and community into a new future where the pandemic becomes endemic, I think things are feeling a little rushed for many of us. But someday I have a hope that there is a future where things become a new normal. Things are more balanced and we don't feel like we're shifting in and out of crisis as much. And when we do that, we can do that in our digital and online spaces to create that safe place of welcome. But the physical space of welcome will be important too. And we have hope for what that future holds for us. We had a little conversation on the Zoom about what we hope we can do as our lease is up in this space and we look at a different space that will house us better, since we won't be able to do the school thing anytime soon, I don't think, and nor do we have maybe the willpower to keep setting up all of the stuff every week. It's exhausting for us, and shifting our focus into caring for others and welcoming others, I think, will be something that is more life-giving for us as the people who call ourselves Sacred Place. And so a story like this is one which we can carry with us to remind us that sometimes we are the ones who need the comfort and care, are in that time of need, and sometimes we're the ones who can do that caring. Each of us comes in and out of those different roles, I think, depending on what season of life we are in. I don't know where you are on that journey in your own life. I imagine you do, but maybe it takes some reflection too to figure out where you are and where you're being called to be next, as far as providing a sacred place for someone or needing that sacred place for yourself. And I think it's possible to need both and be both at the same time, too. I invite you during this next song to reflect on that and to imagine what it will be like to be able to be that again for people.
Lord, whatever comes, make me steadfast, make me rooted, seed planted firm, deeply grounded in your goodness. Whatever comes, Lord, whatever comes, be my bedrock, keep me steady, loyal to your throne, and whatever stands against me, whatever comes, be my bravery when I am trembling, be my courage when my heart is caving in, be the fire side when I am wandering, and be my God for whatever comes. Lord, whatever comes, may my soul be strong as I am, bending only when I kneel before the I am. Whatever comes, be my bravery when I am trembling, be my courage when my heart is caving in, be the fire side when I am wandering, be my God for whatever comes. Whatever comes, be my bravery when I am trembling, be my courage when my heart is caving in, be the fire side when I am wandering, be my God for whatever comes. Be my God for whatever comes.
I invite you to pray with me now. Holy One, each of us is on a different place of our journey of being one who can provide a safe and comfortable place, a place of healing, and needing that place of safety and healing. Wherever we are on that journey, may we be reminded that there are others with us, and that you are with us, and that it is your Spirit which guides us. May we hear a story like this today of Ruth, Naomi, and Boaz. And may we carry that story with us as we continue to look forward of what Sacred Place can be. We have long felt called to be a place of refuge for those who have been discarded and marginalized by the church. As we look to discern where the next physical space might be for us, if it is the current space or somewhere else, help us to create something that is more of what people need. We have long talked about grief and loss as a church. It's something many of us experience together in creating Sacred Place. It's also something we've experienced as a country and world during the course of the pandemic. It is something which each of us goes through at different times in our life, and we know that it changes us, much as we see the change of grief reflected in our story from Scripture today. Help us to be travelers on that journey with others who are going through that. Even those who might be among our midst. May we together create a new story filled with hope and new life of what is possible. May the collective trauma that we have experienced as a country and world be something through which Sacred Place can be a place of healing. As we continue to try and move forward through this, while caring for one another in ways that call us to be uncomfortable at times. May your Spirit guide us and strengthen us to do that work to which we know we are called. May we continue to share our stories of who we are and what this place is about, so that those who are in need of it may find it. We know it's not just magic that people will show up. We have created something which I know is good. We give thanks for how far you've brought us thus far. And I am thankful for the hope of what can be. These are the ways which we experience the new life of resurrection found in Jesus, the one in whose name together we say, Amen. As I say every week, I'm glad you are with me and took your time to be present here, whether it's on Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, wherever else on the internet you might find us. I lose track. Even though I'm the one in charge of those things, it's community and how it grows always amazes me. Until we are here again in another week, still online only for at least one more week, I'm pretty sure. Things are getting better, but like I have allergies today that I'm pretty sure are just allergies. I took a COVID test at home yesterday, but with the way Omicron's working, who knows? People are still getting sick, and we have to do our best to keep each other safe. especially when we have a small place like this where we are all close together and can't distance in the way that I think we'd like to, with doors open and airflow. That's one of the things we hope to change as we move forward. Anyhow, we'll be back here at same bat time, same bat channel, which means 11 a.m. Pacific time for the live stream, 10:30 on Zoom for our time of community. All of that information is on our website at yoursacredplace.org if you don't have it already. I hope that you are able to take something from today's reflection, today's story, and carry it with you so that you may encounter the world in a different way and create a place that is more just, more inclusive, and brings together God's family. And after you do that, you can come back here, for this is always your sacred place.